Okay, John, I'm ready.
Good evening. I call this Town of Adams Board of Selectmen's meeting to order, Wednesday, October 5th, 2022. First item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Could everyone please stand and join us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next item is the approval of minutes. We have two items. The first one is the Board of Selectmen's meeting and tax classification hearing, September 21st, 2022. What is the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I'll go ahead and make a motion to waive the reading of the minutes for Wednesday, September 21st, 2022, and approve them as submitted.
Motion by Christine. Do we have a second?
I second it.
Second by Howard. Any discussion, omissions, additions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous. The second set of minutes is from the Board of Selectmen's workshop, which was held September 28th, 2022.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to waive the reading of the minutes and approve them as submitted for September 28th, 2022.
Motion by Christine. Do we have a second?
A second.
Second by Howard. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Just an amendment, I'm sorry, on page 1, under new business, fiscal year 2021, just the correction of Member Rosenberg's last name, adding a G.
Okay, we have a motion by Christine for an amendment to the minutes to add the letter G to Member Rosenberg's name. Do we have a
Should I
second?
abstain? Yes.
No, you can second.
I'll second. Any further discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous. We are back to the full reading of the minutes. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous. That's it for minutes for this evening. Next is public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak to the Board of Selectmen with anything that is not on this evening's agenda? Okay, seeing none, we will continue on. Old business, there's nothing under old business this evening. Under new business, A, the first item is the ratification of Kevin Rayner to the position of planner for the Town of Adams Community Development Department. Crystal.
Yes, so the planner position was previously funded by the meals tax revenue that goes into the Economic Development Fund. The position was vacated in April of 2020 due to the Economic Development Fund's inability to sustain the position because we had a decrease in meals tax revenue as a result of the pandemic. After an assessment of the staffing needs in the Community Development Department with Eamon and his staff, we felt that the position, or the department needed one more position, which was the planner. So it was written into the most recent CDBG Community Development Block Grant, and the position will be funded by the block grant this year. There were 2 applicants for the position. Both of them were interviewed. The interview panel was Jay, Eamon, and myself. It was not an easy decision, but Eamon and Kevin are with us tonight. And Eamon, do you want to add any words?
Could you please come up? Thank you.
As you know, the Community Development Department is very busy, and we're really happy to have Kevin around, hopefully as another helping hand. Kevin's going to likely start out at first working on our housing rehab program and kind of helping to get some new projects underway. That's a program that provides generally around $30,000 of assistance to help low to moderate income families and individuals with their housing needs. It helps to make very much needed repairs to homes. So Kevin will, I think, at first we'll be starting out working on that program, and we'll get involved as well with assistance to the 3 land use boards, Planning, Zoning, and Conservation Commission. and then eventually get him involved in bylaw development. As I said, we're very busy. We're very happy to have Kevin around as possibly another helping hand. So,
Is Kevin here?
and Kevin is here.
If you don't mind inviting him up so the public can see him and the board can, okay, have a face with the name.
And I'll add, Kevin's a local from Pittsfield.
Okay, good.
He most recently completed an internship with MEMA, the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency. And that experience there is one of the reasons that he's making the jump now into community development and planning. His supervisors at MEMA spoke very, very highly of him, and so we're hoping to get him on board with his start date of tomorrow. So.
Okay. Did you want to read your letter?
Sure.
Okay.
So, dear Board, this letter is to advise the Board of Selectmen that Mr. Kevin Rayner has been appointed to the position of planner in the Community Development Department. As provided in Section 10 of the Town Charter, I am pleased to present Mr. Rayner for your ratification this evening. Mr. Rayner holds a master's degree in International Affairs from the University of Albany. He recently completed an internship with the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency, where he assisted in updating local comprehensive emergency management plans for municipalities. He also assisted in facilitating drills and exercises to train and prepare communities for potential disaster situations. Mr. Rayner expressed in his interview that his graduate studies and experience with MEMA made him realize the importance of government at the local level. This inspired him to seek a career with local government where he could personally contribute to the vision and forward progression of a community. Mr. Rayner demonstrates professionalism and the ability to multitask on numerous projects at one time. He excels in his writing capabilities and displays thorough cognitive problem-solving skills. He is eager to learn the specifics of the various planning boards and ADAMs, including the Zoning Board of Appeals, Planning Board, and Conservation Commission. He expresses a genuine interest in obtaining a wealth of knowledge in these areas, as well as numerous other areas of community development, including zoning bylaws, housing rehabilitation, and understanding the project implementation of the various projects currently underway. Based on Mr. Rayner's experience and excitement towards this position, I am confident he will excel in this role. Once ratified, Mr. Rayner will begin his employment on or about October 6, 2022 at grade 10, step 2, with an annual salary of $50,878. Respectfully submitted, me.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the Board of Selectmen?
Yes, congratulations for, entering the ring with us. I'm happy you're with us, and your background seems good, but you've got a lot of learning to do. I think you realize that, because within the context of each one of the things that you're proposed to help oversee, there's Mass General Law regulations. So I believe because you have a advanced degree that your feel for things should come a lot easier than others. So I wish you best of luck, and bring home the bacon.
Okay, anyone else?
No, just a welcome to Kevin. It's an impressive background, and looking forward to having you be part of the team.
Okay, do we have a motion from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to ratify the appointment of Kevin Rayner to the position of planner for the Town of Adams Community Development Department at a grade 10, step 2, with an annual salary of $50,878.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
I second it.
Second by Howard, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous, welcome.
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 Thank you. It's an honor to be here and to be working for the Town of Adams.
Great to hear that, thank you.
Thanks so much, Kevin.
All right. Next on the agenda is item B, under new business. The ratification of Tristan Fieri to the position Operator 3 for the Town of Adams Department of Public Works. Crystal.
Yes, so this is a routine promotion. It is not a new position. The ranks in DPW begin with skilled labor and then go from Operator 1 to Operator 2 to Operator 3 and then Foreman. The previous Operator 3 was promoted to Foreman in July of 2020. At the time, there were no qualified operator twos to be able to promote, so we held off on the promotion. We posted the position this year, and Tristan was the only applicant. The interview panel was Mr. Timothy Koga, Aiming, Coughlin, and myself. We did anticipate advertising for this position this year, so it is fully funded in the budget. And this time, I'll read my letter first. So, dear board, this letter is to advise the Board of Selectmen that Mr. Tristan Frieri has been appointed to the position of Operator 3 in the Department of Public Works. As provided in Section 10 of the Town Charter, I am pleased to present Mr. Frieri for your ratification this evening. Mr. Frieri's qualifications for this position are excellent, as he has already shown a high level of capability in his capacity as an Operator 2 in the Department of Public Works. He has developed significant experience in operating heavy equipment and machinery. He also exhibits a strong understanding of the importance of safety, not only for the operation of equipment, but also for himself and his coworkers on an active job site. He demonstrates natural leadership skills, a positive attitude, careful attention to detail, and an outstanding ability to work with others in a team setting. Mr. Frieri currently holds all the necessary licenses for this position, including both a CDL and a hoisting license. Mr. Frieri also currently serves as the union steward for the Department of Public Works and displays exceptional communication qualities in this capacity. Based on Mr. Frieri's experience within the Department of Public Works, I am confident he will succeed in this role. He will excel in his abilities to work with his fellow coworkers and teach them the necessary means to complete a job both efficiently and effectively. Mr. Frieri has expressed his desire for a long-term career with the Town of Adams, and I believe this role will be beneficial to him as he strives to learn and understand all aspects of the Department of Public Works. Once ratified, Mr. Frieri will begin his employment on or about October 6, 2022, at grade D05, step 6, which is $23.34 an hour. Respectfully submitted, me.
Okay. Do we have a motion from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to ratify the appointment of Tristan Frieri to the position of Operator 3 for the Town of Adams Department of Public Works at the grade D05, Step 6, at $23.34 an hour.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second it.
Do you mind coming up to the podium?
Thank you.
Good. I want to thank you for all your hard work and extra work.
Thank
Your commitment to our community, and your commitment to our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Joe?
Yeah, Crystal, there was just one applicant, right?
Correct.
Okay, because I just kind of worry because your dad's employed by the town and you're not sitting on a committee picking somebody that's, you know, but since there was only one candidate, I don't think that should present a problem.
I can assure you there was no conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous. Thank you. Next on the agenda, which is item C, CMRK Incorporated. We have a presentation by Taylor Millspaw.
You got it.
I got it?
And I'll give a little.
Sure,
introduction
Anna,
to-
sure, you step up. Glad to hear from you.
So Jay and I met with Taylor probably a month, roughly. CMRK has a very unique business model, which involves textile donation bins, which would be placed on town property. In return, the town receives a small dollar amount per pound of clothing that's donated. CMRK is also interested in possibly locating a more, a permanent, larger donation center somewhere in town, location to be determined. Jay and I both thought it would be a good opportunity for the town. There's a lot of details that need to be worked out in terms of locating these bins and then also developing a small agreement with CMRK. But we wanted to give the business an opportunity to kind of introduce itself to the board and then decide to pursue things further. So I'll let Taylor explain the details more.
Thank you. And I have a packet for each of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
can
Everyone
watch.
drop
Yes,
four.
that's okay.
Well, thank you guys so much. My name is Taylor Millspaw, and I'm the Director of Business Development at CMRK. CMRK has been around for 35 years. We collect clothing, textiles, and small household items in two main ways. Our first main way is through, like you said, strategically placed clothing donation bins. So in your packet, under where it says our services all the way on the back, you'll see we can totally customize our bins for your municipality. We do this with all of our partners, and it really helps create a sense of pride in the community. We pay 7 cents for every pound of clothing and textiles that we collect in those bins. Starting November 1st, there's a new legislation that comes down that says no textiles can go into the waste stream. So we're really an opportunity for cities, towns to really get in compliance. Right now, we work with over 50, this morning, it's officially 50, cities and towns across Massachusetts. So we're based in Northborough, but we service the whole entire state. We already have a large amount of partnerships out here in the Berkshire County where there's really been a missed opportunity from our kind of organization. So right now, we're already going to be launching with North Adams, Florida, Clarksburg. We already have partnerships with Lee, Dalton, all different kinds of locations, which is really cool. So people will donate their clothing and their textiles in our strategically placed clothing donation bins. We really love transfer stations, police departments, schools, where people have a sense of pride, are going a lot and are not likely to dump. We also are able to offer free curbside pickup to your residents. They can call, they can text, they can also go online. We have taken over the Big Brothers Big Sisters Foundation. They were around for 25 years. The pandemic hit and they were unable to sustain themselves. That's where we step in. So not just those textiles can we collect from people's homes, but also in your packet, you'll see a bright red advertisement. We can take books, we can take pots and pans, we can take decor, and that helps. We do not pay for those items because of the higher increased cost from house to house, but that does count towards your overall diversion, lowering waste costs like that. So we work also with nonprofits. Our biggest partners in your packet, you'll also see behind the contract, letters of recommendation from Mothers Against Drunk Driving, St. Vincent de Paul, and Big Brothers Big Sisters. So we are a for-profit company, but this allows us to be able to pay the most amount of money for the items, also be able to give you the highest level of service and quality. And also our nonprofit partners received $992,493 last year. So yes, we are a for-profit company, but we give back to our local community, which is something we're extremely proud of. Last year, we collected 25 million pounds of clothing. We visited 121,000 households, and we have a fleet of 35 trucks that run 7 days a week. So we're a pretty big operation, but we're really looking forward to potentially helping you and your residents get in compliance, generate some funding, and then also help the environment. I know that was all a lot at once.
I was wondering, Eamon, can you come up here for a second, please?
Yeah.
I just have a quick question for you. The current situation we have up at the transfer station, I thought there was a clothing box there already. Is that true?
I believe there is, yeah.
Okay. So what's the situation? This will be located in different areas. How are we going to deal with the bin we already have on town-owned land?
I spoke with Jay about this, so I'm actually happy to take that.
Sure.
So the actual plan is that bin would be removed and replaced with this bin.
Okay, in the same place,
Yes,
same location?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and we also developed a short list, which I don't remember off the top of my head right now, but we did develop a short list of locations we thought would be appropriate. Well, obviously that needs to be developed further, but we thought possibly Memorial School, possibly the police station. I mean, I hesitate to say anything, nothing's final, but we did think of some locations.
And the last thing for me, then I'll pass it off, is could you identify some of the items you have, at least on one of your brochures? You have bagged and you have many items here, more than just clothing.
Correct.
And also boxed is another way. And what do you do with a box if you bring a box up to one of these bins?
So we don't want those household box items in the bins unless there's already a pre-existing swap shop. But that's where the house-to-house pickup comes in.
Okay.
People really utilize that for estate cleanouts or people moving, things of that nature. There's no limit on how many items people can donate. They can donate 8,000 pounds at once, whatever can fit on the truck. And then we really work together with our partners. We give you a monthly marketing material that you're able to put on your website, put on your social media. In your packet as well, you'll see some sample marketing materials. We really focus on the Mass DEP RDP grant, and we have gotten all of our marketing materials professionally translated into Spanish and Portuguese to be inclusive of all languages. If there's a language that you need in addition, we're happy to provide that as well.
Okay, you mentioned just under bagged, right, which you bring up to your bin. You mentioned the clothing, household textiles, which, for example, are blankets, towels, and curtains.
Yep.
Are there any other examples?
We'll
for-
also accept shoes, belts, anything essentially that's made out of fabric, but not head pillows.
Okay.
Essentially anything I'm wearing, you can donate.
All right. Okay, I'll open up to the board for questions.
Joe, did you have something you want to say?
Yeah. I think one important thing that has to be known is as of November 1st, 2022, clothing and things won't be allowed in the waste stream via DEP.
Correct.
And one other thing too is that a lot of clothes, it's almost like 6% gets burnt in incinerators, and that equals up to 230,000 pounds of fabrics and things that just go up in combustion for generating heat or whatever they're generating for. And one thing I read, because I didn't know we were going to get this handout. You're an exporter though, right?
So 90% of our items stay domestic.
Okay.
So that makes us different than a lot of other organizations. That's kind of two-pronged. First being we are a for-profit company. So there's a lot of misconceptions about the textile industry. People will say, oh, you're just going to collect things and then dump it in the river. From a for-profit standpoint, that makes no sense. So what we do, we work with people within the United States, but also if items are not able to be reborn, they can be broken down into a variety of uses. That can be mops, that can be insulation, that can be road things. Like there's a lot of other uses rather than just incinerating it. So yes, of course, that might be an option, but we really focus on making sure that things are able to be reborn and working with partners that are doing things responsibly, and that's another benefit of keeping our stuff domestic.
I didn't mean to insinuate by saying that 6% was burnt was a good thing, because I don't believe it is, because that's not really recycling. Who are some of your main companies that you distribute your clothing to?
So unfortunately, I can't discuss who our buyers are, but we do work with nonprofits to give back, but the people that are buying it, I can't discuss that, unfortunately.
Okay, and another thing I noticed with like big brothers and big sisters, I don't know, do we have big brothers and big sisters in our area? Because I know they're the ones that will come and get bicycles for kids if you leave them, and just to help out the community in general. So I think if we go in this direction, that we should find a group that are interested in doing that type of thing, because the more you can get out of the waste stream, the better. And if it can go to use to needy people, it's a good thing.
Yeah, so I do want to be full transparent. Not everything that we collect goes to nonprofit. The monies that we generate from our partnership is what helps them be able to continue their mission. It allows them to focus on what they do best, which is mentoring or helping the poor. So they're not having to worry about the logistics. So I did want to be full transparent with that.
Yep, and is there any reason that you can't divulge who your customers are? I mean, is that within the purview of the law to ask that? Or you can just say, well, I don't want to let you know who we're selling it to?
I'm
Like
sure.
freedom of information, if I said, oh, I want to see who you're exporting to and what their backgrounds are and what they do with it, that's, you know,
We're a
just.
private
not-
company, so we don't have to divulge that,
Okay.
with all due respect.
Yeah.
But our
Yeah.
business is, you know, with us internal,
Yeah.
and it is a,
That's your company policy.
yeah, private
And in
thing.
other words, do you have any competitors within the New England area?
Of course, there are competitors.
Okay,
Yep, and there's a variety of for-profit and nonprofit
Right.
organizations that offer, you know, a mixture of either they can just do bins or things like that.
because, you know, a lot of people send their colos like to Goodwill and things, and they're reused, and so I think my main thing is to know that our waste disposal ban is coming very soon, because that's just less than a month away.
It's
So,
coming up quickly.
Yeah, so a decision needs to be made of, you know, how we're gonna do it, because until I read this, I had no idea that that was the case. So that's why I like to look at things before I come in. So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Christine?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah,
Had your hand raised, go ahead.
I had a question for Eamon. Has this been coordinated with Linda Cernak? Because she's coordinating all of our recycling.
Yes, she was actually at.
Amy, could you come up to the podium and speak
Yeah.
into the mic, please, for those that are home?
Yeah, Linda was actually at this initial meeting that we had with Taylor.
And what is her take on this?
They seem very supportive of it.
Okay. Thank you. That's all.
Yeah, I was actually going to state that the information we received is that this was coming from a recommendation from Linda with Northern Berkshire Solid Waste Management, and it sounded as if some of the communities that you mentioned that have already signed on are also part of the same group that we are part of, the Northern Berkshire Solid Waste. And this question is for Crystal or Eamon. The bins at the transfer station and any contracts with regard to the transfer station, that falls with the town administrator's office, and the town administrator was looking for consensus from the board. We set the fees for the transfer station, but in terms of a contract, that would be falling with his office?
Yes.
Is what I read from what Jay had sent us ahead of time. That's everybody's understanding?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Yep.
And then do I have to wait for the bins to arrive before I schedule an at-home pickup of some of these household items?
So we will be, right now, based on volume, we're out here quarterly. But as we get more support from more towns, hopefully we'll be out here monthly. That's our goal. But hopefully we can get out here sooner rather than later. But we do alert you for when we're coming out next. I can't, on top of my head, tell you the date that we're coming out.
But that's okay. It gives me directions on how I can schedule it. I just wanted
Yes,
to know.
perfect. Yeah, you can call, go online, or schedule. You can also scan our QR code, which we put on all of our bins, which allows your residents to know about it even further.
Yeah. And the town has control over what is put on the bins? I know that there's like a proof here
Yep.
of what it could say,
Exactly.
but that would be a final approval by the town.
Of course. And in your packet, there's, right before that, there's 3 circles, of examples of what we've done for other municipalities. So we have an industrial printer. If you wanted your face on it, we could put it on. Really, we could have 3 of them, you know? But really, it's up to you guys. We can do anything that you want.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any motions from the board?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, are we gonna vote, or we're just listening to this and then we're gonna talk about it, or are we gonna vote to do it right at this meeting?
If the town administrator is going to be working the contract, of course, we'll see a copy of that contract, and we can vote to support the initiative and recommend to the town administrator to move forward with this.
I would make a motion to have the town administrator continue to work forward with CMRK.
And I second it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous. Welcome.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it and look forward to our partnership.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have item D, review and approval activity, use limitation for 1 Cook Street Brownfield project. Amen. Come on down. Now,
So,
this is the packet we just received this evening?
yes, I'm sorry I was not able to get materials to you sooner.
Okay, so this is what we're going to talk about?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
So just as an introduction, 1 Cook Street is the former Hoosick Valley Coal and Grain business. The town, I think, acquired the property through tax title back in 2012 and has since then been working to clean up the site because there's contamination issues in preparation for making it into a public park that's along the Ashwell to Cook Trail. We're fairly close to developing the park. We're hoping construction will start. Bidding and construction will start maybe this winter and in construction in the spring. We recently completed a major EPA-funded cleanup down there during the spring. They removed, I think, something like 300 tons worth of contaminated soil, did some investigations for an underground storage tank, which I think was never found. And so that cleanup project it has been largely completed. So as a contaminated site, we're required to put what's called this activity and use limitation, which is attached to the property deed, that basically lets us know the requirements in terms of coordinating with DEP as a contaminated site, and then lets any future buyer or anyone that's involved with the property know that this site is contaminated and know that what their obligations are under the law. What we need you to do tonight is, there's currently an activity and use limitation on the site that's attached to the deed that's very restrictive. Now that the cleanup has been completed, we're putting in place a slightly less restrictive activity and use limitation. Basically what it says is that the property can never be used for something like housing, can never be used for food production. Don't want anybody growing any vegetables or anything down there, except in like a raised bed or something like that. So it sets basically what we can use the site for and what we can't use it for. What we need you to do tonight is actually release the previous sign to release the previous AUL, and then sign this current slightly less restrictive AUL. Becky Ferguson has been largely heading up this project, so if I've missed anything, please let me know. And she can also help answer any more detailed questions that you might have about this. But we're looking for your signature on these 2 documents tonight.
What is the time frame? Is there any concerns or milestones that we have to meet that this needs to be signed this evening?
Well, we're actually a little bit behind on a deadline for reporting to DEP by only a few days, so we're hoping to get this in place as soon as possible. And we also tried to run this by Ed just to get his opinion on things. We weren't able to get any comments back from him in time, but we've been coordinating with TRC, our consultant, on this, and we feel that we can sign and get the AUL in place.
So TRC Consultants,
Yes.
engineering firm?
Yeah, they're an engineering, licensed site professional, geotechnical type firm.
So they had a licensed engineer sign off on it?
A licensed site professional. That's a,
Yes, a licensed site professional.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, who's reviewed it already. Yeah, they've reviewed all the language.
And what is the lesser restriction? What was it before you did the cleanup? And just give us the high points. I understand now you can't have housing or food production. What was it before?
In your packet, the termination of the lease one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you come up?
Yeah.
We've been having some inquiries that individuals at home, I'm sure there's a very large audience out there, that having trouble hearing us, hearing the board members, hearing those that are speaking at the podium. So we're just trying to help out by keeping an eye on it, so that's the reason why. Thank you.
I have a copy of the previous activity and use limitation. I only have one copy, so, but I'm happy to have you guys take a look and pass it around. The restrictions include no commercial industrial activities, no disturbance of the soil.
So we can disturb the soil now.
We can, with this new one, we can disturb the soil, but we do need to have a licensed site professional on board if we wanted to remove any of the soil.
But we can do planting and landscaping and,
Yeah, so we can replant it in landscaping, and then part of the park design, we'll probably be moving soil around, but we have no intention of removing any soil. So,
okay. Any other restrictions that we're taking off?
I think we can look at this more and we can get back to you on those restrictions, but specifically, but I can
From a practical standpoint, in terms of limiting how we develop the site.
If it's going to be a park, I think we won't be able to build on it or have any housing there or any sort of.
But the plans that we have in place for the park are going to be okay to go ahead with?
Yeah, we
Okay.
confirmed with both the LSP and our engineers and park planners that everything in that plan would be okay under the current use limitation we're asking.
Okay, so there's no additional cost to the town then to get the site ready for whatever the plans are? Okay. Thank you.
So, Eamon, can you please come up again? So what was the reasons, well, I'll just ask the question. What was the reasons that we were looking for legal counsel review and approval of this document?
I just wanted to have another, I'm relatively unfamiliar with this type of document. I thought Ed, it would be good to have Ed's, just have another set of eyes take a look at it.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, the board, questions?
So, Eamon, if I understand this correctly, you're asking for basically 2 items of business from the board this evening. One, to release the current activity and use limitation, or AUL, and then to approve the proposed AUL.
Exactly. Yep.
So it is 2 items. And then I know that Ed was not able to review the documents, but was the town administrator able to review this prior to it coming to the board? Or aware of?
No,
This,
he's
okay.
he's aware of this, but was not able to review it at
Okay,
the time.
because he mentioned to us in an email that it was a routine matter. So I just was wondering if there was full review.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we've certainly done as a town before.
Thanks.
Anything else from the board? Tom?
Yeah, did we get a compliance order that it was completed successfully by DEP stating that the removal was done and that DEP has sanctioned the removal? Because it has to be documented.
Part of why we're asking for this is because it's going to be included in our submission to DEP in the permanent solutions and conditions statement, and then I think after that we'll get our compliance.
Okay, so right now you don't have your compliance.
Right,
Okay.
right.
And my last question is, as this project goes forward, do we have the funds on hand now to completion, or are we gonna have to go back out looking for more money to complete the project? Do we have enough money now going toward that project to complete it?
Complete the park project?
Yes.
Yes, we received, I think, around $400,000 from CDBG to complete the park project. I'm really hoping that's enough to complete everything.
Okay,
And we'll adjust the scope of work as needed to fit within that budget.
yeah, and is there a timeline for completion with the CBDJ grant?
We're hoping that we can get construction completed by the end of next year.
So that will keep us within the time frame that the money is given to us, the 400,000?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. And while we're talking about Cook Street, this is an aside, but I just wonder, I noticed that the highway department put blacktop over the whole bridge, to get the bumps away, and I was just wondering about load capacity on that, because bridges have load capacities, you would know that, but I don't know.
I think is that a Tim Coda, that's a DPW,
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the load capacity of that bridge.
Okay.
we'd have to reach out to.
Yeah, all right, very good, thank you.
I spoke to Tim about that, and he said it's not going to change the load capacity, but it's going to protect the bridge because the blacktop will keep the salt and moisture off the steel reinforcement bars, and it'll protect the integrity. So it's going to really, it'll extend the useful life of that bridge.
Yeah, salt does do a number on iron, that's for sure.
So I'll just express my concern, and I'm always happy with the community development department and the work that you do, is that receiving this evening without the proper review, according to yourself, that the board does depend on that type of review. So I would hope that the board would make a motion, if they do want to approve this, would include that the board receives an email from either Jay Green, town administrator, or from Ed St. John, that they approve of this agreement. So we get that in writing to the board, so that's the recommendation, so,
Sure.
okay.
And I just have one last statement. It's not anything to castigate anybody, but it's tough for me because, every week we get, one day before the meeting, we get a stack of stuff, and it's hard going over it and really looking at it the way I would like to do it, because you get something and then you're looking at it, and we're asked to vote on certain things without very much time to look at things. And I'm not saying, but it's hard for me to do that because I can't really look at things when I'm just sitting here for 5 minutes and kind of decipher what's going on. And when it's intertown, it's harder. Like, I was able to go online and find out about the company that was just here and that type of thing. But if I tried to go online to find this, I wouldn't find it. So in short, it just makes it hard for me. I don't know about others on the board, but digest things in such a short manner when there's repercussions for my vote.
Yeah, I apologize. I wish I was able to get this
No.
out a lot earlier.
Yeah, no apology needed, but it's just tough for me that's all I'm saying.
Okay, what is the board's pleasure?
I will make a motion to release the current activity and use limitation in place for 1 Cook Street.
We have a motion by Christine, do we have a second?
I second it.
A second by Howard. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I abstain from the voter. Thank you.
And I will make a motion to approve the proposed activity use limitation for 1 Cook Street pending review by the town administrator and town council.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
I second it.
Second by Howard. Any further discussion?
Yes, how does that affect your timeline?
It's okay. We're a couple days late anyways. I don't think it'll be too much of an issue, or I'm hoping not.
Okay.
But waiting 2 weeks would affect it. Your filing in compliance with DEP.
Yeah, I'm hoping if we can get this approved at the next meeting, that would be acceptable.
Is Ed on vacation? Or is
You know what? He's around.
he's around?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like if he reviewed it tomorrow, you would be able to
Yeah,
get this off
I'm
by
planning on
Friday.
discussing it with him tomorrow. He's going to have some office hours in town hall anyway, so.
Okay.
Okay, great. That sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Unanimous decision. Thank you. All right. Next, still under new business, we have item E, approval of, was that priority?
So it's a prorating.
Prorating, sorry. I had a mark on there. Approval of prorating of seasonal license fee for Todd Fiorentino, doing business as Poseidon Coffee. And he is here this evening. Can you?
Todd is here.
Thank you.
Todd's making his way to the podium, if I may, just from a licensing standpoint. As the board may remember, Todd came before us June 15th to have a seasonal license approved by the Board of Selectmen. It was approved that evening. and it went out to the ABCC. The ABCC spent probably 2 months working with Todd, looking at the site, checking all of your plans for the site. There was a lot of back and forth, as I was made aware. And Todd was not able to get his license in a timely fashion as he had hoped, and he is before the board this evening asking for the license to be prorated. The fee for a seasonal license is $650, and, you know, Todd's obviously here he can talk for himself, and he also provided a letter, but he will be open at this point with a license for just over a month, and what he is proposing is a prorated fee of 2 months worth of the fee. And what he's looking at and what he has requested here in his letter is that the board look at reducing the fee from $650 to $144.44. I know, I'm sorry to giggle, but it's a good number. But he thought that would be fair, given that he would possibly be working into November and wanted to pay for all of October and November. But I'll let Todd speak at this point.
I think that's a good summary. My understanding is that the liquor license is done and ready to be purchased, which is great. The seasonal license is based on a 9-month period. I only have about 3 weeks of work left because November 1 I shut down. So that was why I wrote the letter and wanted to make that request.
I will also mention to the board that we did ask Attorney St. John for options with regard to the seasonal license and prorating it. Some of the options that we looked at was possibly foregoing the seasonal license for this year, and Todd operating with a 1-day license for a couple of different events, possibly in October. Attorney St. John recommended that we move forward with the seasonal license and that the board consider prorating the license. So that was a recommendation.
Okay. Questions from the board?
If I understand this correctly, after not 8 months, this is the last call for alcohol.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Wow.
I don't have any questions. I just have comments.
Would you like to provide your comment?
Was that the only comment, your joke for the evening?
No, it makes, logically, it makes perfectly good sense. I have no issue with Todd's request.
Okay, Joe?
I'm going to abstain. I didn't go for giving a liquor license out. I didn't think it's a proper place, a visitor center thereby. And I also must say, and this is just the way I feel, that, you know, Todd's getting use of our restroom facilities, and that's a big cost for, you know, people that have establishments and that type of thing. So I'm just going to abstain from the voting because I wasn't for the liquor license, and I feel that's right for me to do.
My thought is that if we do prorate this license, being around a long time, that every license that comes before the board will now be asking to be prorated, which is not the process that the board had. The board here is the alcohol licensing board. That any license coming forward would be looking for the same prorated deal or agreement, which you may think might be, maybe that's the right thing to do, right? So what we do here this evening will be setting a precedence if we do go with a prorated number of days, weeks, or months, that we do set that precedence for all other new liquor license requesters who may start in June. And instead of paying in the past, the full price of a liquor license, they would now pay 6 months of the liquor license because they started their business and their license in June. So just for the board to keep that in mind when they make their decision, that's all.
Mr. Chairman, I think that's a good point, but the way we could possibly get around that is to not give out a liquor license, a seasonal one, until the beginning. If they were to come in later, we'd maybe just have to hold our discussion until it came to the time when, you know, they'd get the most bang for their buck.
Yeah, I'm even looking at, oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I'm just even looking at a individual business that is open for 12 months, that opens in June. Now, since we set a precedence, that could also impact that type of a license. So I've just a thought, a statement that I wanted to make.
That certainly could be rectified in the same manner, but it would be more of a financial hurt for a business that's year-round with a liquor license than a seasonal license. But at least that's my belief.
How many cases of this, how frequently would this come up, based on the experience of the board?
It hasn't.
I mean, given the precedent that the chairman's talking about, what?
I don't remember since I've been on it, coming to that point, that someone came in midstream and asked for a pro rate. If they paid their due, they just kept it at that and didn't come back to us. But I can't pick one offhand that, you know, did that certain thing. I can't remember.
And there would be, because they paid the
Right, exactly.
price that they were told they need to pay.
We've had businesses that have come before us in April or May for a year-round license, and who've paid the full amount and not,
Right.
you know, looked for anything to be prorated. Most of the time for them, it's because they're just trying to make sure that they get a license that is part of our quota, because we do have only so few to get. So, you know, they do come in maybe sometimes earlier or whatever it may be. But for them, it would be very difficult for them to wait until January 1 to be applying for a license if they're going to be open for, you know, 6 to 8 months. In this particular case, Todd is actually the only seasonal license that the town of Adams has, or Poseidon, I should say. Poseidon Coffee has the only seasonal license. And in this particular case, the kiosk does not have heat. Is that correct?
Right.
So that is why you closed November 1st, where
Right.
your license could actually continue on through the end of December. However, you actually have 3 more weeks 3.5 weeks at this point, that you're going to be open, because we all know it's getting much colder.
Yeah, once it hits 32 and starts freezing, the espresso machine in particular can't really function.
Right.
So,
And I did also want to just address, in the lease with Poseidon or with Todd, you know, he does pay a monthly fee to the town of Adams for the use of the space, or for his kiosk to be placed there. And also, as part of the lease agreement that was approved by the Board of Selectmen, Todd does have use of the bathrooms, which is some of the cost of your rent is offsetting the cost of the use of the bathrooms. So I did want to just point out that, and your lease payment went up as a result of you adding on the seasonal license.
right.
We also added a number of conditions which you have met, all of them, with regard to some certifications that you had to receive, your tip certification, your crowd certification, and you had to increase your insurance. You had to have liquor liability insurance and name the town, which was all added expenses in order to be operating for possibly 3 weeks with this license.
Right.
It's why when this was presented and you offered to pay a prorated amount more than what you would actually be open, I thought it was fair, even though it is unusual for us to be entertaining it, as people have mentioned at this table.
And if it was the beginning or the middle of the season, I wouldn't even be here. So, yeah.
If
it's
it had
the
been
tail
June.
end for us, for me, anyway, but.
I'd like to make a motion to prorate the seasonal license for Poseidon Coffee in the amount of $144.44.
I second
We
it.
have a motion by Christine, we have a second by Howard. Any discussion?
Yeah, I just have one more comment. Jay sent us a recap of today's meeting, and he stated within it that you're doing great already, so I don't know, that just makes me always tepid about, and as our vice chairman, Christine, meant that you have the only seasonal liquor license. And so, you know, that's a good thing in your pocket. And I was down there for the Alzheimer's thing, and a lot of people were going to your place, so you've got a good place right there. And I don't know, maybe I'm an old prude, but I just don't go for like liquor at a visitor center, because you're welcoming people to Adams and, you know, step up and get a drink. So you know, that's my last words. And you know, Todd, I've discussed it with you. It's certainly no reflection on you. You're just a guy trying to get by. I just don't think it was the proper location. And I think things that were okayed were a little stretch of what I believe a liquor license holder should have. But once again, you know, and I've talked to you, there's no offense against you, but I have to do what I think's best for our community.
Fair enough.
And the last question, just so I understand, if a regular license holder, for example, the Haflinger House sold their business, they have the license, and they're closed for a month or so, and then in July, the next business picks up that license, what do they owe the new business?
The full amount.
Okay, so what is this, so that's what I was trying to get at. What is this, just a question again, so future, when they come in front of us. So the owners of the Haflinger House paid the full amount of the license in January or February or December. They sold their business, and the new owners, who are going to have it open for 5 months, will have to pay the full price again for the same license, but it's a new business. So I understand.
I'd have to look at how the transfer works.
Okay,
But if it had been closed permanently and then,
but just for 1 month,
Right.
let's say, and they renovated it, and they would have to come back and pay the full price.
I'm not sure how the finances work with the transfer.
Okay, because that would be my concern, that it would start a trend to start, I'm only open for 6 months, even though it's not seasonal. Why do I need to pay the full price when the other previous owners paid the full price? So that's just a question. Don't have the answer here, but that's just my opinion.
Can we say for seasonal, this is for seasonal licenses, consideration only?
It would-
I would have to go
it would-
by the,
Right,
through the
bylaws.
ABCC.
It would,
Okay,
I don't think we could make up our own rules.
So,
this is the local fee, so
Yeah.
it really would be on a case-by-case basis. We
Okay.
would take each request as they come. And
Okay.
so this request is for Poseidon, and I'm,
okay, so for local requests, we
This-
take each request as they come.
Yeah.
yes. That has been our practice.
okay.
Thank you.
This motion is just for Poseidon and not for anything going forward.
And you have agreed to the $144.44
Absolutely.
is something you have put forward as, as a option.
Yeah,
All right. Thank you.
thank you.
All right, so we have a motion. Well, I'm sorry, could you please repeat the motion again?
The motion was to approve the prorating of the seasonal license fee of $144.44 for Poseidon Coffee.
We had a motion by Howard. Any further discussion by the board?
Second by Howard.
Second by Howard.
Second by Howard.
Yeah.
Any further discussion by the board? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm
And
abstaining.
we have one abstention. Thank you.
Motion passes.
Motion passes. So we have next is the set, which is F, set special town meeting date, time, and location, which has been identified as November 15th, 6 PM, Adams Memorial Building. We do have the town clerk here, I believe, if there's any questions for her. Now, we are holding this town meeting on November, the suggested date again of November 15th is in support of discussion in regard to the wastewater treatment plant funding that we are working to receive. Do you have any additional information on that, or?
Yeah, I can give a little bit of background. So at the annual town meeting, the town meeting members approved authorization to borrow a sum of money as it was written. That was expected to be about $5 million for the wastewater treatment plant capital improvements. After the bids went out, it came back. It turned out the project was higher than expected. So we are going back to town meeting to ask for borrowing authorization for the additional amount of money, which is, I don't have the exact amount available, but in the range of about $2 million.
Okay, so this evening, we are just opening up. We're going to set the date first. There's going to be two motions. The second motion is to open special town meeting warrant. And the same rules apply, that if there's any citizen petitions that are out there that have the appropriate number of signatures, which I believe is 10, they can also bring those forward. Do we have, and the closing date, which the board will be meeting to finalize the warrants, is October 19th, 22, will be the date to close any warrants. We'll have the wastewater treatment funding warrant on there, and any other citizen petitions that may or may not come forward. So, back to item F. Do we have a?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, Bree, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to include that in the closing of the special town meeting warrant on October 19th, 2022, but that is at 5:00 PM.
That's 5 o'clock, regular board meeting to do that.
Well, 5:00 PM is the time.
Is the
after
time.
that
Yeah.
closes.
It closes.
Sorry, thank you.
Oh, that's okay. Just gotta make sure I understand. So 5 o'clock, it closes to be able to add any additional citizen petitions.
Correct.
Okay. All right, so going back to item F, setting the special town meeting date. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to set a special town meeting for November 15th, 6 PM, to be held at Adams Memorial Building.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Howard. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, none, unanimous decision. Do we have a motion? So item G is to open the special town meeting warrant.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to open the special town meeting warrant.
We have a motion by Christine, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Howard. Any discussion?
I just would ask the town clerk to clarify the numbers of signatures for a citizen's petition. I believe it is more than 10, and it's closer to like 150, but you think it's 100? Okay.
But they can call the office and ask them.
Okay.
So a citizen's petition requires 100 signatures
For a special town meeting.
for a special town meeting. Now, how much for a regular town meeting, if you know? That's where I got the 10 from. But this is 100 because it is a special.
100, but
Okay, we'll verify that, but 100,
But if anyone was interested in filing a citizen's petition, they can contact the town clerk's office, and the town clerk would walk them through the proper procedure.
okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous. And then item H, under new business, is to set the closing date for special town meeting warrant.
I'll make a motion to close the special town meeting warrant as of October 19th at 5 PM.
We have a motion by Christine, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Howard. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, none, unanimous. Thank you, Haley. Next, item I is approval of a facility use request for October 30th by the Adams Lions Club. Now, normally, the Adams Lions Club on a yearly schedule has the parade, which we did have one last year. So I will read the letter from President Art McConnell. Greetings from the Adams Lions Club. This is to inform and request our annual Halloween parade to be scheduled October 30th. We wish, as always, to depart from Center Street parking lot behind the Adams Community Headquarters building at 3 p.m. and turn onto Park Street and have the group head north towards East Maple Street and turn to head towards the Adams Visitor Center parking lot, where we will be ending and ready to serve hot dogs free to all participating children and for the adults marching along with them. We will expect to hand out at least 300 hot dogs and water. Expected will be the Alerts fire truck, the Adams, I will say, high school band, the Adams Lions trailer, a police car, and perhaps the forest wardens. And of course, all the excited parade marchers in tow. We are thinking we may not need the visitor center to serve out of the food trailer. We have heard that the train ride may be available at 5 and wish to be done for that in case the group wishes to take that final ride of the day. We also know there will be the pumpkins on display that were done on previous days to our parade. Thanks.
8:06 p.m.
You betcha. President Art McConnell. What is the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to approve the facility use request for the use of Adams Visitor Center by the Lions Club on Sunday, October 30th, from 3 until 5 p.m. And I will also add to the motion to approve the use of any streets as necessary and in coordination with the police department for their parade.
We have a motion by Christine. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Howard. Now, this request has Mr. McConnell's signature. The copy I have does not have any other signatures. Normally, this has been done in the past. So the board has made, yes, a motion.
I'm happy to offer clarification. In order.
Could you, unless you're going to speak to oh, you can, great, I want to make sure, thank you.
There's a microphone there.
Right there, yep.
In order to offer our community members and community partners who are filling out these facility use requests a bit of an easier time, instead of them hunting down all these signatures, I take care of that. So we wanted to get it cleared with the board, and then I will be sending it to Chief Kelly, Jay Green, and whoever else is necessary to have it signed off on, rather than sending folks on this wild goose chase scavenger hunt across the town of Adams.
Can you go the opposite way?
So for requests that don't require board participation, Jay is the last one to sign off on. I suppose I could go in the opposite direction for ones that require board signatures.
That would work.
Would that
If we
be
were the last
preferable?
ones to approve, that we have all the signatures.
Sure.
All the concerns identified, and then same as when Jay approves his, the same process.
Sure, absolutely. Sorry if that threw a
No,
wrench in your
it's not-
process.
not a problem.
In this particular case, I did brief the town administrator about this request coming through. He did not have any concerns about it. However, he was not available to sign the form prior to our meeting, and because we just received the form earlier this week. So I think it would have had his signature on it if he were available to sign it.
And timing lined up slightly different.
Yes.
So do they have a name of the person who like cancels Halloween? I don't want to be that person.
I think it might be John Duval. No, I'm sorry.
So we have a motion and a second on the floor, correct?
Does the police chief heard about this?
He will after I send it. So I did not receive this until, until
Okay.
there's a bit of a crunch time getting this to me to get to you. Chief will be made aware first thing tomorrow morning. Yep.
I'm good.
Any further discussion by the board? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, none, unanimous. Okay, continuing under new business, we have another facility use request for the Pumpkin Walk, October 28th through October 30th. Do you have information on this, or we have Haley? Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm happy to be back before the board to talk about the Pumpkin Walk again this year. It will be in conjunction with Mill City Productions, the Council on Aging, the Events Committee, along with Shire Bakery and Shire Donuts, too. So the Pumpkin Walk is a wonderful event that's going to happen on the weekend just right before Halloween, right before you set your trick-or-treat hours. So the Friday night before, on the 28th, at the Adams Visitor Center, from 5 to 7, there's going to be carving of pumpkins. There will be some pumpkins available. If somebody doesn't have a pumpkin, you can come on down and carve out a pumpkin. Tools and paint and all kinds of stencils will be there for you to be able to use if you so choose. If you have a pumpkin at home that you want to bring down, that you want to carve your own, that's perfectly fine too. We appreciate all of your pumpkins. So come on down on Friday the 28th from 5 to 7 and carve out a pumpkin. And then on Saturday and Sunday, these pumpkins get displayed. They'll be displayed from like 5:30 to 7:30 outside the visitor center. Last year, I don't know how many pumpkins we had, but we had a lot of pumpkins all out on display. We put little tea lights inside, we light them up, and there's jack-o'-lanterns all over the place at the visitor center. And it's such a wonderful event. It's wonderful for the young children, and it's wonderful for the young adults and the older adults. It's great it's intergenerational, so you can come on down with your whole family, and you get to enjoy and walk around and see all the neat carvings that everybody has done. I know last year, St. Stan's School, they brought over a few pumpkins. We're hoping that maybe they'll do the same again this year. Maybe we can get Bart in our Hoosick Valley Elementary or even up at the high school to do a couple of pumpkins too, and maybe even a few people here or departments at Town Hall would be wonderful too. So what we are asking for this evening is the use of the visitor center on Friday the 28th, Saturday the 29th, and then Sunday the 30th. We're going to try to get all our pumpkins set up for the ending of the parade. It won't quite be dark enough, but hopefully people will stick around and enjoy walking around and seeing all the neat carvings of the pumpkins. And get some cider and donuts and cookies.
Sounds
Do you have any
great.
questions?
Any questions from the board? What is the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the facility request of the Adams Visitor Center Friday, October 28th, Saturday, October 29th, and Sunday, October 30th, from 5 to 8:30 p.m. For the Adams Events Committee to hold the Pumpkin Walk.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
Second?
Second by Howard, any discussion?
I just wanted to comment, I know that the Lions Club in their application referenced, they're working with other groups. It's been nice to see some coordination from the Adams Events Committee, the Adams Lions Club, and Berkshire Scenic Rail to put together a really nice weekend for folks here in Adams for Halloween. I think it's probably why there's an urgency to get these approved as early in October as possible so people can start marketing. And it's my understanding that there's some joint marketing that's happening to promote Adams as a destination for Halloween weekend. So I commend all of you for all of your collaboration.
Okay. Any further discussion? What is the board's pleasure? Did you make a motion?
Yep.
We have a motion, second on the floor. I was just kind of thinking about the kids are going to make pumpkins. No, that's right.
No,
Pumpkins with me after this evening.
but I might have to make a second motion to see if the board will make a pumpkin, but we'll go. No, just- Continue.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous. Great, thank you, Haley.
If there are town departments that are doing pumpkins, I would recommend to my colleagues that maybe we get together and paint a pumpkin too. Throw it out there as a suggestion.
I say the accounting department will be carving pumpkins. Maybe the town administrator's office.
Smell of competition.
Okay, so we're getting down to the end. We have, for item K, we have approval of entertainment license for Firehouse Cafe, 47 Park Street, Adams. And we do have a request here from Xavier Jones. Why don't you take this? This is on licenses.
Yeah, so when Xavier and Warren came before the board in the spring for their alcohol license, they thought at the time that they had also done the entertainment license. However, they did not have that filed with us, so we are putting forward their entertainment license to make them whole for their business. So what I'm putting forward is the entertainment license. This is for just Monday through Saturday. They're actually open Tuesday through Saturday. This is not a Sunday entertainment license, which would be a separate matter, but they've chosen not to have a Sunday entertainment license at this time because they are not open on Sundays.
Will this carry them through the end of this calendar year, then they have to reapply?
Yeah, so this will put them through the end of this calendar year, and then this would be part of their renewal. So it kind of came up as we were starting to put together items for renewal for this year, that this was not addressed.
Okay, motion from the board.
I'll make a motion to approve the entertainment license for Firehouse Cafe at 47 Park Street.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Howard. Any further discussion, questions?
I just was wondering, it's music now, is this gonna be acoustic music? Is it gonna be rock and roll? Or, because there's a question in here, what impact will noise or other hazards have on the surrounding community area? So, depending on the type of music, if it's just acoustics, but if you got a rock and roll band in there cranking, makes a bigger difference,
They plan to have jazz music playing,
okay?
live jazz music on Thursdays.
Okay.
Okay. Any further questions?
I should just also point out, they do close at 9 PM, so they're not a late hour business.
Okay. All right, no further questions. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, none. Unanimous. And the final item under new business, which the community looks forward to every year, sometimes brings out the pitchforks and the lanterns, but determination of trick-or-treat hours for the town of Adams. What is the board's pleasure this year for trick-or-treat hours and the day?
I did look it up. It looks like last year, we went with 5:30 to 7:30 PM. So I would be making a recommendation to set the trick-or-treat hours for Monday, October 31st, 5:30 to 7:30 PM.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Howard. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, none. Unanimous. Hopefully Berkshires will carry that for us. Get the word out.
People were asking in September.
Yes. They were asking in August. Come on, be honest.
All right, subcommittee liaison reports. Joe?
I attended the Adams Prudential District meeting, and all of the focus was on the Great Island water supply. And I think John and Jay know what's going on with that, so I need not make any comments on it. I attended the Cultural Commission that Howard was at. I'll let him allude to it because he had more comments than I did. I just asked what made up a district, and I got the answer that I wanted. I went to the Conservation Commission meeting, and most of that was on the emergency order on the Pine Street retaining wall that is caving in. But this is going to be a consistent problem in our community as we go forward, because a lot of these walls are deteriorating. I took a walk along that river where there's walls and there's trees growing right into the walls, starting to bust them out. And it's just something that needs to be done. That stream has no flushing capacity whatsoever, because once it gets into the level areas we've all seen over the years, it just carries the silt a certain distance, and then it builds up and it builds up. And so you're not just losing capacity, water capacity, you're also getting problems with the underpinnings, and that's what happened. The foundation is not showable, and the wall is tipping in. So that was one of the main things. And then I went to a Parks Commission meeting, and there's been a little back and forth about bleachers down at Renfrew Field for seating. The elderly have been complaining, particularly the grandparents, parents, and so on, about seating for particularly the elderly, and because they need to, use the facilities. And I brought up a suggestion, and I don't know if they're going to carry it out, but I talked to someone from the Fair Committee, and it seems that they'd be willing to just get it through the year and, take the ones that are down at the agricultural fair. They're made out of aluminum. They shouldn't do any damage to the grounds. Just put boards underneath them. I think they have railings, so that would make them compliant. And also with the Parks Commission, let's see what else was of some concern. It eludes me now, so it couldn't have been all that important, but those are the meetings that I attended.
Okay, Christine?
Bree, I'll be looking to schedule a licensing meeting probably the week of October 17th, so we can look at the renewals for them to go out, and we can talk to Rick about his availability.
Howard?
Yes, in terms of the Arts Advisory Board, that member Novak alluded to, the Arts Advisory Board, which is under the auspices of the town of Adams, is going to make a recommendation to become an independent organization, because they've already set themselves up as a 501c3, and the town administrator has voiced his support of getting it out from under the town, and the Arts Advisory Board is moving in favor of that because it's going to give them more leeway to set their own budgets and set their trajectory and their decision-making without encumbering the town in the process. So it looks like a win-win situation, and so that'll be probably brought in front of the board when the Arts Advisory Board formally makes the request to separate.
Yeah, I'd like to have that at a workshop, just to have a discussion, the history
Okay.
of it, and just so we're on the same page. That's
Okay,
all.
very good. And regarding the Adams Cheshire Unified School District, I had the distinct pleasure and opportunity to meet with Kristen Pallett, who is in charge of curriculum development. And I must say that she is an amazing addition to the school district, because she is creating curriculums whereby the people with learning disabilities can be more mainstreamed, and she's got tremendous experience in how to really get the achievement up across the school board, just not across the school district, not just for the high achievers. So, and she has a lot of experience in doing that, and I was very, very much encouraged by the programming and the support she's getting from the teachers and the administration.
All right, great, thank you. Motion to adjourn.
What did the order?
With the order, sorry, Joe.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I just had a few things, and I'll make them quick.
Sure.
Once again, I always I have to give kudos to, I think it's Marikey, did I pronounce that right?
Marikai Salon?
Marikey Salon. I mean, every occasion
Yeah.
that she decorates her windows
Windows.
so nicely. Now she's got a Halloween theme, and she puts her heart and soul in it, and it really, it makes a difference, people walking and seeing something, because they see she's taking pride in her business. So I want to thank her for that. I was also asked by, I don't give people's names, but they're concerned about a no parking sign that has been taken away from Front Street near where the blocks are. As you're just coming down, the long string of blocks, there used to be a no parking sign there. And now the cars, because there's so many units there, the cars are, there's a string of cars and it only makes for one lane. And at one time, there was a no parking sign there. But either it's been dislodged or, so that's something perhaps, Chairman Duval, you could bring up to the Traffic Commission and have them take a look at it, because I do remember there was a sign there and it's no longer there. How long it hasn't been there, I have no idea.
The entire sign, the pole and the sign?
Yeah, nothing's there. And another thing is that I'm sad that the St. John Paul II Charity Center is going to be closing their doors. It came to the point where it was both financially hard for them because they needed to sign a contract with the food bank. And the people that have been working there for years, it's been there 13 years, and they're all older, and it's just hard to get volunteers. So I personally want to thank them, and I've said this in the past. We sit here as a board doing the people's work, but they're doing God's work. And for that, it's going to hurt people in this town, because a lot of people went there, but they just can't do it. And the last thing I got a call from a person that lives on Cross Street, and the new piping that was put in, that right at the header of it, it all collapsed. And so water is not going down through the pipe, so there must be an accumulation within there. I don't think the whole pipe could be filled up, but it's dropped down, and so I think either, that should be under some type of warranty or something, but it's...
I'll ask Tim Coda to
Yeah, it's
take
at
a look
12 Cross Street.
Cross Street.
Yeah.
Okay. I know where that is, okay.
Yeah, and the pipe, it's all collapsed. There's dirt there, there's no entry for the water to come in.
Okay,
And we spent quite a bit of money on that project.
yes, we did. All right, Christine.
Just that tomorrow is the last coffee in the court for the season, 7:30 in the morning. So if your schedule allows, please plan to have coffee over in Armory Court. It is being sponsored by Beefair.
Howard.
I've already spoken. I'm good.
You're good, okay. All right, now a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second? I'll second it, seconded by the chair. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.